If your blood pressure won't come down, even on medication, the stress habit you're using every day could be keeping it elevated, and your doctor may have told you to do it. I'm Dr. Mandy Thomas. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that habit is, why it quietly drives blood pressure higher, and what actually works at the physiological level. Drop a comment right now. When you're stressed, what do you usually do? Distract yourself, vent to someone, or push through and ignore it? Your answer is directly connected to what's happening with your blood pressure. Here's what most people get completely wrong. When your brain perceives a threat, a deadline, an argument, financial pressure, even the news, your adrenal glands release two hormones, adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline hits fast, spikes your blood pressure within seconds, and fades within minutes. It's the dramatic one, but it's not the dangerous one. The real long-term problem is cortisol. Cortisol is slower and stealthier, and this is where most doctors stop explaining it. Chronically elevated cortisol keeps your blood vessels in a state of low-grade constriction. It signals your kidneys to retain sodium, which raises blood volume, which drives arterial pressure higher. It promotes inflammation in the arterial walls, silent stiffening that happens so gradually you don't feel it happening. Your arteries are aging faster than they should, and nothing on your blood pressure monitor tells you why. Even when you feel calmer, your body may still be running that quiet, damaging stress response beneath the surface. Now here's the mistake. And this is the part that changes everything. The biggest stress mistake keeping blood pressure elevated isn't failing to relax. It's suppressing stress instead of completing it. When most people feel stressed, they do one of two things. They distract, scroll social media, stay busy, eat comfort food, binge television, or they vent, retell the stressful story to someone, replay it, ruminate. Both feel helpful. Distraction gives temporary relief. Venting feels like release, but physiologically, neither one completes the stress cycle. They suppress or extend it without resolving it. Here's why that matters. The stress response is a biological cycle, with a beginning, a middle, and an intended end. Animals in the wild that survive a threat literally shake and tremble before returning to calm. That physical completion tells the nervous system the danger has passed. Humans, conditioned to suppress emotional responses, have largely lost that ability. We push through, we white-knuckle, and the cortisol keeps circulating. When you distract yourself from stress, you hit pause on a biological process and walk away from it. The cortisol is still circulating. The blood vessels are still constricted. The inflammation is still ticking. You've just stopped paying attention to it. This is why blood pressure is often highest first thing in the morning. The stress cycle from the day before was never completed. Your body carried the quiet damage through the night. Venting is even more interesting. When you retell a stressful story, your body re-experiences a version of that stress response. Cortisol triggers again, heart rate rises again. You've extended the cycle rather than ended it. That's why some people feel oddly worse after venting. The body registered the retelling as another threat. And this is where most wellness advice completely misses the point. So what actually completes the stress cycle? Your nervous system responds to physical signals, not intellectual reasoning. You can consciously know the stressful event has passed and still have cortisol running. The nervous system needs a physiological message that danger is over. And the most powerful way to send that message is movement. When you move your body at a moderate, sustained intensity, even for 20 to 30 minutes, you tell your nervous system the chase is over. You survived. The threat has passed. Cortisol begins to drop. The parasympathetic nervous system comes back online. Here's the nuance most fitness advice misses entirely. High-intensity, competitive exercise can actually trigger another stress response in people already running high cortisol. Some people with elevated blood pressure feel worse after very intense workouts precisely because cortisol spikes and doesn't recover quickly. They've added another stress event to an already burdened system. The sweet spot is moderate, rhythmic, sustained movement, brisk walking, swimming at a comfortable pace, cycling, dancing. activities that elevate heart rate without pushing into maximum effort. Research consistently shows people who incorporate this kind of movement regularly have significantly lower cortisol, better blood pressure regulation, and measurably less arterial stiffness over time. Now, I want to pause here. If this is giving you a clearer picture of why your blood pressure management hasn't worked the way you hoped, I want you to keep getting this information. Hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications. Every week, I break down the real physiology behind cardiovascular health in a way most people never hear, even from their doctor. And share this today with someone managing blood pressure who's tried everything and still isn't seeing results. Now, let's keep going, because movement is only part of the picture. There's another dimension to completing the stress cycle that almost nobody talks about: how you breathe. Under stress, breathing shifts to shallow and rapid, heavily in the chest. That pattern alone keeps the nervous system mildly activated even after the stressor is gone. Your body interprets shallow breathing as a signal that something is still wrong. Diaphragmatic breathing does the opposite. Breathing deeply through the diaphragm stimulates the vagus nerve, the primary pathway of your parasympathetic nervous system, and that vagal activation is the physiological off switch for the stress response. Heart rate slows, blood vessels dilate slightly, cortisol drops, blood pressure begins to fall, measurably within minutes. Practicing this consistently builds what researchers call vagal tone. People with high vagal tone recover from stress faster, have naturally lower resting heart rates, and better blood pressure regulation. You can train this. It takes consistency, not intensity. There's one more component. And it's the most surprising. Safe, warm, genuine social connection is a direct physiological antidote to cortisol. A hormone called oxytocin, released during positive social contact, reduces cortisol production, promotes vasodilation, and has been shown to lower blood pressure in clinical studies. When your nervous system reads an environment as genuinely safe, it begins to down-regulate the stress response. The problem is that many social interactions in modern life add to the cortisol burden: difficult relationships, competitive environments, social media comparison. Identifying and protecting time for genuinely nourishing connection, a trusted friend, a shared meal without screens, time with a pet, is not a luxury for people with stress-driven blood pressure. It is medicine. And then there's sleep, because it sits at the center of this entire cycle. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated into the evening when it should be falling. That disrupts sleep. Poor sleep raises cortisol the next day. Higher cortisol makes the following night harder. Blood pressure quietly climbs in the background of that loop, aging the cardiovascular system in ways that accumulate slowly but compound significantly over time. Protecting your sleep is a cardiovascular intervention, a consistent sleep and wake schedule, a cool, dark, quiet sleep environment, no bright screens for an hour before bed. Blue light delays the natural cortisol drop that should accompany sleep onset. Honest examination of afternoon caffeine, evening alcohol, irregular eating, habits most people haven't connected to their blood pressure readings. Here's the complete picture. Every time you suppress a stress response without completing it, you add to what researchers call allostatic load, the cumulative biological cost of chronic unresolved stress. Over years, that load stiffens arteries, raises the blood pressure baseline, and ages the heart faster than almost anything else. Not dramatically, quietly, through a slow accumulation of uncompleted cycles and silent vascular damage. The solution is not eliminating stress. That's impossible. It's becoming someone who completes stress cycles efficiently. Moderate movement that signals safety to the nervous system. Diaphragmatic breathing that activates the vagal off switch. Genuine social connection that delivers oxytocin-driven cortisol reduction. Sleep protected as seriously as any medication. Honesty about emotional experience rather than suppression. Every one of those things has measurable physiological effects on the hormones and vascular mechanics driving your blood pressure, and every one is available to you today without a prescription. If you're serious about lowering your blood pressure naturally, you need a daily structure, not just good intentions. I put mine into a one-page reset plan originally designed for my private patients. It includes the 5-minute diaphragmatic breathing protocol, the stress cycle completion framework, the sleep optimization checklist, and the questions to bring to your next appointment. It's in the description below. I originally kept this for paid patients only. It may not stay free, so grab it now while it's available. If this video gave you a new way of seeing your blood pressure, drop a comment below. What was the biggest shift for you? I read every one. Subscribe if you haven't. And share this with someone who's managing blood pressure and still not seeing results. This might be the piece they've been missing. Next video, the specific sleep habits research most consistently links to lower blood pressure, and why the timing of when you sleep may matter as much as how long. I'll see you there. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Never adjust or stop medications without consulting your healthcare provider first.